Ramana? See if I can find everyone. Vibeke. In the corner. There in the corner is Vibeke.
I'm sorry?
Vibeke.
Vipika, okay.
And here is Vera.
Vera, okay.
Here in front of you is Justin from Ireland.
Okay, Justin.
And here at this wall is John.
Okay.
Yeah, just go back. And Patty is sitting aside.
Okay.
And Stephanie. Stephanie is at the wall.
Okay, Stephanie.
Stephanie.
All right.
And Andrew is beside her.
Okay.
And here in front of you is Pribiji.
Okay.
And we have Shri
And
back.
Shri. Huh?
And Jewel.
And Jewel. Well, namaste to everyone and welcome to this ashram. Can you imagine an American Texan doing satsang? Goodness gracious, what's the world coming to? Well, some of you have come with questions, and when the awakening happened, it sort of gave the ability to come into the awareness, or to not come into, I just live in it and abide in it. But by being in it, to allow questions to occur and answers that are significant to the one who has the question. I no longer have any questions, so I have no answers. But you have a question, so you have an answer. And what good is the answer if it's not your answer to your question? So we'll see what your answer to your question reveals. Give me a minute to kind of see which order would be best to take them in. Well, they're all similar. So I guess we'll just take them in the order that Erda has written them. The Piki. Am I saying it right? The Piki? Is that right? Vipiki? Huh? Vipika. Okay. You'll have to excuse me. I'm a Texan. I don't know how to say all these words. Okay. If I don't pronounce your name correctly, you must all forgive me. Okay? How to stabilize yourself. Long glimpses, but not permanent. You want to stabilize yourself in long glimpses, but not permanent? I'm just being playful. I'm assuming you're saying you're having, or you have had, long glimpses, but not permanent. Is that what you're saying? And you would like to stabilize yourself permanently. Well, what seems to be the cause of your being unstable?
The mind comes in.
The mind? Well, what's that got to do with you being stable? I just stay stable.
Yeah, see the points.
I have a hearing defect, I'm sorry. I wear hearing devices in my ears. I'm not going to pull them out and show them to you. I can, but So how to stabilize yourself? You're saying yourself. How to stabilize yourself, meaning myself? Myself is already stabilized. So is your question how to stabilize you? For you to be stable?
Yes.
You understand when we get to any of these questions, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I do understand. But yeah,
That's what you're saying.
something is to understand and something is to be the reality.
Something is to understand, and something is to be the reality.
Something to understand,
And something is the reality.
and something is reality. Something to understand, and something is the reality.
Ramana, it is something to understand and something to be the reality.
Oh, it's one thing to understand, it's another thing to make it real. Is that basically it? Well, when you understand what's real, while you're understanding it, you know what's real. Correct? It's amazing sometimes when we look at questions, they will clear themselves. Are you unstable this moment?
You know,
Ah.
not now.
So if you're not unstable this moment, why would you ever be unstable? Very simple. Now look, right now. Being stable is just natural. It's not natural, as you would say, to be unstable. So simply abiding your natural state is being stable. So don't be unnatural.
Question.
That's pretty simple, isn't it? So just stay natural. And don't be unnatural. Does that kind of cover it?
What you say?
That's all there is to it. It truly is all there is to it. Awareness of being, awareness as being, is your natural state. Just simple awareness is your natural state. Don't identify with the mind, even though thoughts might be occurring. If you don't identify with thoughts, you're just going to abide in your natural state of being anyway. And even if thoughts are occurring, you're still in your natural state of being while thoughts are going on. Are you not? So what's the question?
This is a stupid question.
You see how easy it is? Now, stay in this awakened awareness that you are. You are awake. You are aware. This is your natural state. And if thoughts go on, so what? Stay as awareness in the awakened awareness that you are. And what's the problem? Does that not answer your question? does not give you the means and the way to remain in what you're calling being stable.
I think so, yeah.
No, don't think. No.
Okay.
You see the difference?
Mm,
Yes.
I do.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your answer.
All right? You got it now, huh? Okay. Vera, what role does the power of the self-energy play in the awakening? Well, goodness, what do you think it, the role, Vera? What do you think it is?
Role may be that it unites with the self.
I'm sorry?
The role is that it unites, become one with the self.
The
The
What?
role of the energy or the power.
the role of the, I'm sorry,
The role of the energy of the power.
the role of the energy of the
No,
power,
role of the energy or the power of the self.
Or.
Or
the role of the energy,
Or.
the power of the self.
And Vera says to unite with the self.
To unite with the self. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Uniting with the self?
yes.
Are you separate from the self?
No, I'm not.
Ah.
But the energy is
No, it's not.
apparently not.
Oh. What makes it appear not to be?
It's hard to say right now.
What role does the power of the self-energy play in the awakening? Have you ever let me ask you a question? Are you awake?
Yes?
Well, what role is it playing for you to be awake?
That I experience it.
I'm sorry?
That I'm no. It's a hard question. It's a difficult question.
Well, why do you ask difficult questions?
Yes.
Oh, you're fun.
No, okay.
You're awake right now.
Yes.
Well, what power does the self-energy play in you being awake right now?
But I'm not sure that I'm fully awake.
You're not sure you're fully awake?
No.
You're not. Are you asleep?
No, but but I will go to sleep.
You've been going to sleep?
Yeah, afterwards, later.
Afterwards, you later. Well, when you get tired, you lie down and go to sleep, don't you?
Yes.
Huh? Well, then when you wake up, don't you?
Yes.
Well, what role does the self-energy play in that?
But aren't the sleep state and deep sleep state, this state, waking state. Isn't that states of ignorance?
No. Well, who told you that was states of ignorance? If you're asleep,
Yes,
you're asleep.
yes, but then no idea of the self.
Well, certainly you don't have any idea of a self, but you don't leave yourself, do you?
No.
Huh?
No.
While you're asleep, you still remain the self, don't you?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Well, what's the problem?
But it's
You just don't have a mind
No.
when you're in deep sleep.
No.
Do you? You don't have a mind while you're in deep sleep.
No.
Right? When you don't have a mind, you don't have a body, and you don't have a world.
Yes.
That's pretty basic.
Yes.
Okay? That's not ignorance. That's intelligence.
Okay. What about dream statement?
Huh? Well, that's more ignorant.
That's more ignorant. Yes.
In the dream state, now you're thinking in a subtle realm.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So thinking is going on in a subtle realm while you're dreaming,
Yes.
and thinking is going on in a physical realm while you're awake.
Yes.
Okay? Well, thinking is stinking. Isn't it? You don't even have any problems unless you think,
That's true.
right? Come on, folks.
I have not seen it from that point.
Come on, folks. Let's look at it. Come on. Do we have a problem unless we think we have a problem? Come on, let's all be here conscious. Consciously. I'm sorry to be loud. I'm hard of hearing, so I take it on you. Understand, basically, so many people have so many concepts, theories, opinions, and beliefs about what they think spirituality and spiritual life is all about. And most of it is just hogwash.
What? Cow wash?
Hogwash. Hogwash.
Nonsense.
You know what a hog is? A pig?
No.
A pig?
A hog?
And when you put a pig that has been wallowing around in mud, into water and wash him, what comes off? Yick. That's what hogwash is. Pig wash. Nonsense. Are you with me? Most of what we have come to believe, to take for granted, based upon what someone told us, what we've read, what we've heard, that we have not inquired into, we've not investigated, we've not looked to see for ourselves, most of it is nonsense. The mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. That's Bhagavan Ramana speaking. The mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. The very first thought is what thought? What's the first thought? What was the very first thought you had?
That's when I am resist.
Okay, but when you thought that you existed, you were even before you thought you were.
Yes.
And then here you were, being, existing, and then you started thinking.
Yes.
And that's when the problem started.
Yes. Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Do we all get this?
Yes.
That's when the problem started. And we've been having problems ever since. Look at it. We have been having problems ever since. Ever since we started thinking. But the being that we are, the existing being that we are, is pure awareness. Huh? The pee-pee? The picky? The pika? It's awareness, isn't it? Pure awareness. If we just stay in the awareness as the awareness and not identify with the thoughts, they're going to happen. I want you all to stop thinking right now. Stop. Did you do it? Stop thinking for 5 seconds. It might be a little easier to do it right here. But do you recognize that it's very difficult to stop thinking for 5 seconds? Well, since you can't stop thinking for 5 seconds, stop identifying with them from now on. You can't stop them, but you can stop identifying with them. You do not have to identify with the thoughts, just let them happen. What difference does it make if thoughts are going on? They're just going to continue to go on. But you don't have to identify with them. And if you don't identify with them, you're stabilized in the awareness that you are. And you can see for yourself the role that the energy of the self has to do with your very being. See? Because you're awake already. The energy of the self is the awakeness that you are. Right now, this moment. How far are you away from yourself?
No distance.
Exactly. And never have been.
No.
Never have been.
No.
Now you all tell the truth. I'm being very loving when I ask this question. Truly, being very loving when I ask this question. How many of you came to India to find yourself? Well, how in the world did yourself get here when you were elsewhere? Who brought yourself here that you had to come here and find it? Come on. This is not a facetious question.
It is also a saying, something so we can communicate, because we know better. Of course we didn't come here to win, apart from ourselves, but it's a saying to be enlightened.
A saying?
Yes, we use words.
Well, I'm certain. Fine. You use words.
Yes.
Use them. So what?
Yes,
But wherever you are, you're still using words. You're going to use words no matter where your body goes, and it's just your body that comes and goes, not you. You have never been anywhere. How can you go somewhere?
I know that,
Well, then why did you come here looking for yourself?
because it's a saying of being enlightened.
So you just follow a saying?
Yes, I don't know what other words I should use.
Tell yourself the truth now. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be difficult on yourself now. Love yourself. Be compassionate to yourself and say, you know, I'm kind of silly, but I'm cute. Huh?
Yes.
Just see how silly I am, but I'm still cute. Okay? We do silly things, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Well, one of the silly things was to come to India to find yourself.
Yes.
Okay? Now that you came, I showed you where yourself is. Huh? You never left it. It's been with you all along. Yes. So it was never lost. So why go looking for it when it wasn't lost to begin with?
Well, I guess I just wanted to have a teacher to point into this.
Well, you just found him. But I'm not a teacher. You're the teacher. I'm just a mirror to reflect back to you, to point back into yourself that which you really are. You have never left yourself. Where can you go? Nowhere, exactly. You are the self. Now your body, oh, it can go all over the place, but that's not you. We have to make this distinction in truth as to who and what we are. And unfortunately, we've been identifying with the not self as though that's the self, with the not true as though that's true. And that's the problem. You see it? That's all it is to it. Welcome home. All right?
All right.
Okay. Welcome home. Doesn't it feel kind of good to be home? See, you never left. All right, Vera, any more questions?
No, not for now.
Okay. What is your name? Are you on here?
Yes.
What's your name? Bibaji. Okay, well, let's get down here to your question. You're last on the list, but we're going to put you next. How can I stop my search? Right down, you stop it. You want to come home? Well, you're here. That's the end of your search. You have always been that which you're seeking. You've always been. There's nothing you have to do.
But you see, I know that with my mind.
Come on, stop this. Don't know this with your mind. You are this right now. It has nothing to do with your mind.
But you see, I can feel it.
What do you got to feel?
This oneness feeling.
Oh, you got a concept. You've got a concept. Do you feel one with yourself? Are you apart from yourself?
No.
Well, there you go. Oh, you're wanting some kind of a special peak experience?
Yes.
Oh, huh? Some kind of a special, whistles, sirens, firecrackers going on? Love, let me tell you something. It may never happen. That's not it anyway. Even if you had it, that wouldn't be it. That just would be an experience. And that too would just be in your mind. Go get the last tract. You that you seek. There's nothing you have to do. Just simply be. Let go. Stop your search. Now you have to look and see. You've probably got an awful lot invested in your search. Just receive this with my love. I'm not here to fool you. I'm not going to fool you. I'm here to share the truth with you. Your mind has been fooling you all along. You've been buying into concepts, theories, beliefs, opinions. And it's just nonsense. I don't mean to disappoint you. I'm here to share with you what is true. Understand something. If you think that you are separate from yourself and apart from yourself and different from yourself, that's you identified with your mind telling you that. Well, don't identify with your mind that tells you all of that.
But that's the hard question. How to do that?
How to do it?
Yes.
Right now. What is there to do?
Stop this busy mind.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, how do you stop the mind? Every time a thought rises, inquire. Are you familiar with Bhagavan Ramana? Huh? Or you happen to be a devotee of his?
What does that mean?
Are you kind of devoted to him and his purity of being and what he has shared and has brought to the world? You have a guru? Okay. Then your self is your guru. Your own being. That's good. That's good. Okay. So I'll just share with you very basically. Every time you have a thought, look and see where that thought comes from. Huh? That's what you got to do. You got to look and see where that thought comes from. And the way you do that is to take a hold of the thought. Hold on with your attention to that thought. And then holding that thought, follow that thought to see where it originates. Where is it based? Where is its headquarters? Where is its home? Where does it live? If you do that and continue to hold on to it, it will disappear. Now, who had that thought? Who would you imagine had the thought? What would you say when you are having a thought? Who's having it? Who? Who would be having a thought when you're having it? Exactly. I'm having the thought. So, see if there is an I that has the thought. Where does it come from? Where is it located? Where is its headquarters? Where is its home? Huh? Follow it back to where it seems to come from and see what happens. What do you think is going to happen?
I go into a blind.
I'm sorry?
I go into a blind. I've been doing this. I go into a blind.
A mind?
Blind.
A blind.
A blind.
Yes.
Okay. And what is the blind?
It's again a mind. The mind is just keeping.
Just a lot of thinking.
Yes.
Just a lot of things. It's the thought factory. Huh? The thought factory, where all these thoughts seem to be going on. But continue to recognize that even that's a thought. I'm in the thought factory. That's a thought. Who's in the thought factory? And if you continue to hold to the one thought, which is I, exclusively to the elimination of all of the thoughts, now see what happens.
It's like I can't break through this
No, that's a thought. That's a thought. That's a thought.
But this is what I feel when I...
Well, that's a thought. You're going to have to listen to.
Inspiring.
Now, you better listen to me and quit listening to that. That'll get you into trouble. I'm going to get you free of trouble if you listen to me. That's a thought. All of that is a thought. Who's having it? Yes, you're right there with the I. Every time that happens, you say, who's having this? Who's seeing this? I'm seeing this. Hold on to the I. And now see where this I goes to. Because if you keep uncovering this I, it will keep running and running and running, and eventually there's nowhere for it to hide. And you keep chasing it. You keep holding on to it. We're playing hide and go seek. Did you ever play that? Okay, you're it. You're it. And you got to keep playing it. Keep playing it. And if you keep playing it, that I is going to run down and disappear. And guess what? There you are. The pure being of the self that you've always been. But that's your sadhana. And if you do anything else, it's a waste of time. I promise you. So don't waste your time. If you do this, it's not a waste of time, and very quickly you'll be finished. Very quickly. Okay? If you want to stop seeking, this is the way. Now, intuitively, you know I'm telling you the truth. Will you stay with it? You stay with it. How long are you going to be here? In Turuvannamalai.
I'm not sure.
What does that mean?
I have a flight back
When?
the 29th.
Well, then you come to Satsang every day that you're here. Tuesdays and Fridays. You hang out with me and see if it doesn't get easier. Unless you just want to go out and seek.
I've been seeking for so long.
Well, let's stop it together, okay? All right? Anything else? All right. I love you. Okay. All right. Justin. Okay, Justin. How to use inquiry to experience I am without it becoming a mantra. Just the same thing I told this lady. You got it? You don't make it a mantra. You get a hold of the awareness itself by following the sense of I to the source out of which the sense of I arises. Not as a mantra, holding on to it. Make the distinction in consciousness between the awareness that you are and the I thought. You're not the I thought. You're the awareness that is before the thought I. Are you with me? You're the awareness that is before the I thought even rises. And you already are that. You don't have to go anywhere to be that. You already are that. Same story. How far are you away from the I am to get there? Here. Exactly. Right here, right now. And this here and now is not in time or space. It's prior to time and space. It's the faceless, formless awareness of being. This is what you are. And you don't have to go anywhere to be it. You already are it. Okay? Any questions?
Yeah, I have tried to do this technique for a long time.
No, no, no. do me a favor. Try to stand up, would you? Well, you stood up. Huh? You stood up. You didn't try to stand up, you stood up. Didn't you? So it's the same way. It's not a matter of trying. Huh?
I stood up before then. I've had lots of practice.
You've had lots of practice, but you see, trying, take it out of your dictionary. There is no such thing. You either do it or you don't.
I have sometimes been in a very quiet space and I ask the question, who am I? And I try to follow it to its source. But it goes, I have not seen it go anywhere. And I try again. That's what I mean. I keep saying the same thing, but I'm going nowhere.
Well, you heard me say to this lady that when you keep with this this inquiry, it's going to disappear. It will disappear, leaving you in the I am. So you don't have to go anywhere. You already are the moment you have a thought. Ask who has the thought. You say, I have the thought. I? Who am I? And that's the end of the I, and you're in the awareness. There's nowhere to go. Except that you already are. Accept it. Accept it. You already are the I am. And don't identify with the thoughts. Okay, thought is going on, so what? Watch the thoughts when they arise, and you stay in the awareness that you already are.
I appreciate that and who I am, but my mind continually gets in the way.
How does it get in your way?
Distracts me.
How does it distract you?
It produces lots of thoughts which I attach to.
Oh, see, by thought, isn't it? Still by thought. Well, you didn't hear what I said. Every time, and you've got to get it. Every time you have a thought, who's having the thought? I am having the thought. Only you can have your thoughts. I'm not having your thoughts. She isn't having your thoughts. And you're not having her thoughts.
But I am not my thoughts.
Exactly. Exactly. You're not your thoughts. You are the awareness that is already there prior to your thoughts. Since you're the awareness that is already there prior to your thoughts, don't identify with your thoughts. You're already there. You don't have to do anything more. Abide in the awareness that you always already are and have always been since you were a little boy, which you're no bigger than this. That's a fact.
Unfortunately, at a very young age, I decided to go the illusory way and be other than my thought, other than who I was.
No, you thought you did. You only thought you did. You couldn't leave yourself.
No, I've been there, but I've been spending my thinking time being somebody else. Really.
No matter if you thought you went away, where could you go? Do me a favor and walk where you are. Leave space right now, would you? Could you leave space? But there's space there. You're still in the space. No matter where you go, you're still in space. And in exactly the same way, awareness is what you are. There is no way you can leave the awareness that you are. There is no way that you can leave the awareness that you are. You've always been the awareness that you are. You've never left it. And the I am is the awareness that you are. And you've just been identifying with thoughts, incorrectly thinking that you have left the awareness that you are. And you've never left it. So you've been buying into a false notion. Well, drop that false notion, and guess what? Here you are. You're home. Welcome home. All right? Anything else?
There is nothing else.
I'm sorry?
There is nothing else.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for your question. I didn't thank you, Vera, for your question, and BBG, I didn't thank you for your question. Stephanie, I don't know what I can do about this baby situation. You know what to do to have a baby. You've got to do it. No, don't do it right here. Wait till you get home. Stephanie's question is, I'm ready for a baby and want to let go of fears linked with failure. Well, fears of failure are, again, thoughts. If you don't identify with those thoughts, tell me, can you have fear if you don't identify with the thought of fear? Huh? Is it possible? That's right. You cannot have fear unless you identify with the thought of fear.
What about my body?
Well, what about your body?
If it identifies with the fears, it's tense.
Well, so let it be tense. When you get pregnant, it's going to be a little tense. And even when you're playing around to get pregnant, it might get a little tense too, but relax. Huh? That's just nature. That's the way nature works, huh? The birds and the bees. Okay, you're very beautiful, and you're going to have a lovely baby, and there's not anything for you to be afraid of. Don't think about it, and you cannot have a problem. Who's it up to? This fear, this releasing of fear, is entirely up to you. Don't identify with the thought of fear, and there can be no fear. Even if fearful thoughts rise, don't identify with them. Are you with me?
Yes.
That's all there is to it. Now practice, practice, practice with the inquiry. You've been hearing me share with how to use the inquiry. When you're having a thought, the one who's having the thought is the first thought, which is I. Along with thought rises the I thought. You cannot have a thought without the I thought. The I thought is the first as well as all other thoughts, the I thought. You can't have it without the I thought. Now, follow the I thought back to the source out of which the I rises, and the I will dissolve. And when the I dissolves in the pure awareness of the self that you are, there's no more thoughts. Stay with the process. Stay with the practice. The longer you practice it, the stronger you get in your ability to abide in the pure awareness of being. I lost you there a minute. You went somewhere. Come back. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I heard.
What did I say?
But I shouldn't identify with the I or when, with the thoughts, and when I have to go back to the I, to the source of the I.
And when you do, and keep doing it, then what? I said some more. Okay, I'll repeat it. That's when I lost you. I knew I'd lost you. Okay. Oh, you're delightful. Okay. When you continue to follow the I thought to the source out of which the I thought appears to arise, it's the pure awareness. And it will dissolve into the pure awareness. It's sort of like you live in Denmark. Where?
Switzerland.
Where?
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Well, up in the Alps, I guess, huh? It gets kind of cold.
No, in Geneva it's not that cold.
It's not that cold. Is there ever any icicles around where you live?
No.
Never? Okay. You ever been around where there's icicles?
Yes.
Okay. If you see an icicle and break off an icicle and put it in a pan of warm water, what's going to happen to it?
It's melting.
Yes, it will dissolve into the water. Huh? Well, it's the same way with the I thought. If you hold on to the I thought like putting it into warm water of the awareness that you are, it's going to dissolve into the awareness that you are, leaving only the awareness that you are. Got it? That's all there is to it. And if you stay in the awareness, make the distinction between the awareness that you are and the I thought. The I thought is just the form of awareness, but you're the formless essence of being itself. The formless essence of being itself. You're not the I form. The formless awareness is what you are. And that's true of all of us. This is the truth for all of us. Are we getting it? Huh? Got it? Any more questions? I can't do any more for you about that baby. Your husband had to do that. All right? Okay. Did you have another question?
I don't know how to formulate it, so no question now.
No question now. How long are you going to be in Tiruvannamalai?
Couple or 3-4 days, something like that.
Will you be here on Tuesday?
Not sure yet.
Not sure yet. Huh? Well, if you are on Tuesday, come back and bring your question.
Okay.
Okay? Namaste. All right? Well, has this been a little bit of a significant interlude? My loves, what happens and what has happened is that we have so many misconceptions. We have been so identified with the mind and the body as though the body and the mind are ourself. And the body and the mind are not ourself. You see, in identifying with the body and the mind as being the self, what that means is we, the very awareness of being that we actually are, which is the universal consciousness, the one reality, the one consciousness, as this one consciousness, are taking on the form of the body. We are meditating a separate self-identity. Let's look at it from the point of view of the self. We're meditating a separate self-identity, and we do it every time we identify with the I thought and with thought itself. When we identify with thought and stay identified with thought, we're meditating a separate self-identity. And my loves, that is the cause of suffering. If we would cease meditating this separate self-identity, we would be free. Because freedom is our nature. That which we actually are is just simple, pure awareness. Every day, the common garden variety of everyday awareness. The awareness right now that knows this fan is turning. You didn't think this fan was turning. You knew this fan was turning. Your awareness told you that it was turning. Now that I called attention to it, now you were thinking about it. Make the distinction, however, between thinking it and knowing it as pure awareness. And start seeing yourself as and knowing yourself as the pure awareness that you are. You don't have to think that you are to be. Thinking comes about because you are. You already are. You are the awareness. You can't think yourself into existence, nor can you think yourself into enlightenment. You can't do it. It's impossible. So quit trying. The moment that you think you can enlighten yourself, you're just going to cause more difficulty, more delay, more confusion, more contradictions and confusion and chaos in your life. Are you all with me?
Yes.
It is very simple and very basic. You already are that which you seek. You have always been that which you seek. You are the simple awareness of being. Your nature is not form. It's not the body. It's not the mind. It's not the history of your body. It's not the history of your life since your body was born. That's not you. You are God playing the role of you. Get it? You are God playing the role of you. And guess what? You're an Academy Award actor. You're doing an excellent job. Just don't get caught up in your role. Remember that you're playing your role. Don't be your role. Play Macbeth. Don't be Macbeth. Are we getting it? That's all there is to it. Recognize that you are God playing the role of you. God dwells in you as you, and always has. God's having all the fun. Now, if you're identified with the role and wanting to have the fun, give God a little of the credit. You couldn't be playing the role unless you really were God playing the role. So just keep remembering that you're God playing the role of you, and quit identifying with the role as though you are the role as a separate entity, because you're not the role as a separate entity. You're the all-inclusive awareness of being playing the role of an individual. But in truth, you're not the individual. That's the role. Make this distinction. It's very important that you make this distinction. Make it, stay in this distinction forever, and be happy. Namaste. I love you all from the core of my being. Okay.